Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy RightSugar, and you're watching pre-recorded gameplay of Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. And today I wanted to post this video because I wanted to tell you guys a story. You can tell by the title that this is going to be at the time that I knock somebody the fuck out. Really quickly before I get into the title, no, really quickly before I get into the gameplay itself and the story, I just want to let you guys know that I've been playing a shit ton of Modern Warfare Remastered, and I actually really enjoy this game. I enjoy it more than Infinite Warfare right now, that's for fucking sure. I haven't touched Infinite Warfare in a pretty long time, even though they're doing some kind of like supply drop thing that I couldn't really care less about. Anyways, let's get right into the story. So this is probably about a year ago, and back then, me and my ex-girlfriend now used to go to the park all the time. And what would happen is, when we left, she would go to her house, and there was a bus depot right next to it that I would go to, so that way I could take my bus home. So, I get to the bus depot, and all the seats are filled up, which, you know, wasn't really an issue. That's not what the entire thing stems from. So, I'm just standing there, and a little bit of time comes by, or goes by, I should say, and this black dude, like, who's probably 35-ish, I couldn't imagine him being in his 40s or 20s, so I'm going to say he was probably in his 30s. He came up to me and he was like, hey, I've got this bus card that will take you anywhere you want, all day for $3. And I told him, like, nah, because not only am I only going to be using $3 today, because it's $1.50 to go, to use the bus, one route. So I was only going 2 places, so that's $1.50 twice. Exactly what he was going to be telling me that it costed. So it really just wasn't necessary to me. Not to mention, I didn't know him. It could have been a scam. I wouldn't have trusted anyone really with that. Anyways, not to mention someone else could use it too. So might as well give that to someone else. So I told him no, and he didn't like that. So he decides to yell as pretty much loudly as he could, white people always trying to scam us black folk and whatnot. So I'm like, I could smell a bit of alcohol on him. I could tell he was probably a bit buzzed, which is fine. You can do whatever the fuck you want, but I wasn't willing to lash out on him just because of that one fact. The fact that he was probably drinking a little bit beforehand, so he was probably not 100% sure what he was doing. So I let him go. And after some time, the bus comes, and if any of you guys have ever taken the bus, you know that the bus can be an extremely lengthy thing to do. It takes a lot of time. And this particular day, we had somebody with us who was handicapped. He was in a wheelchair. And so, for those of you who've never taken the bus, or have never seen, or who have taken the bus but have never seen what happens with somebody who's handicapped, what has to happen is the bus driver opens the doors, lets down the ramp, gets out of his chair, lets the person get on the bus, then he straps them up, then he brings back in the ramp, and then he, people can get on. And so he opens the doors, lets the ramp down, the person gets on, and then he got out of his chair and he started strapping this person up. And so the same dude who was talking complete shit earlier about how white people are always trying to scam black folk decides to chip in and says, man, I'm just trying to get where I'm going, and I've always got to deal with these disruptions in my day, and this is fucking bullshit, and all this kind of stuff. He was basically just being as noisy as he could because he felt the need to talk, even though nobody wants to hear him talking. I'm sorry, I'm putting a bit of bias into it, even though I think I have the right to, being that you guys already know that I knocked the fuck out of him. But we're not at that point just yet. So, like I said, he was being really annoying, and the thing is that I've never been disabled. I've never been in a wheelchair for a broken leg. I've never even broken a single part of my body, so I couldn't imagine what it's like to be paralyzed in a wheelchair for the rest of your life, and having to basically feel like a waste of everybody's time. So I chipped in, and I told this guy, like, hey, that's not very fair, and that's pretty disrespectful to this person, being that they have to do this every day, and you're just having to deal with this once. He didn't like that at all. He did not like that. He turned around immediately, and he was furious. He was so frustrated, I could smell it, and it wasn't just the beer. So this dude, he starts yelling. He's like, oh, what the fuck do you know about this shit? He didn't actually say that. What he did say, though, was a bit worse. I remember that he said, and this is word for word, by the way, He said, he turned around immediately, as fast as he possibly could. I was a bit close to him because I wanted to let him know. I wanted to chip in really close to him. And so he immediately turns around and he says, "What the fuck did you just say to me?" I could tell he was mad. He was so mad that I kind of shit myself a little bit. I said, "Oh, nope, this is not what I wanted to take part in." And so I had my skateboard with me. I don't skateboard that much anymore. Now I just ride my bike. But back then I had my skateboard with me, and he literally grabs it from my hands while he's talking. I can't remember what he was talking about because I wasn't listening to him, being that all I knew right at this point was my board was in his hands and he was lifting it over his shoulder. So, like I said, yeah, he did lift it over his shoulder, and I was like, whoa, 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 and so he drops it. I could tell he reacted to that pretty quickly. He dropped it, and he's still just babbling, saying whatever the fuck he wanted to. I don't even know what he was saying. And he starts going through his pockets. Now, prior to this, I probably should have done something about this. Like, as soon as he picked up my board, that's when I should have snapped. But at that point, I decided not to, just because I don't know. I was just still being a bit of a bitch at that point. And so, instead of snapping, I waited a little bit, and suddenly this dude starts, rummaging through his pockets, and I was thinking to myself, like, he could have anything in there. He could have a pen, he could have, which isn't bad, he could have a knife, he could have a lollipop, he could have a candy cane, he could have whatever the fuck he wants. So, that's when I decided to snap. I backed up, I gave him, like, a little bit of a warning, like, hey, I have the capability of doing something that you probably wouldn't like. I also had my fist balled up, and you would think this dude would take the hint, like, oh, I should stop talking a bit. But he didn't. He just kept on going. So at that point, I decided to knock him the fuck out. I hit him so fucking hard that I wouldn't be doing a justice to you if I didn't say fucking before talking about knocking him the fuck out. I hit him so fucking hard that his lower torso whipped back, and there was a good solid pause before his top torso hit the ground. I hit him so fucking hard that due to how long it took for his top torso to hit the ground, he actually whipped his neck back, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got whiplash. I hit him so fucking hard that he was knocked out for roughly 45 seconds. So anyways, enough of that. Yeah, I hit him incredibly fucking hard. Like, I hit him so hard, I don't even remember hitting him. I do remember that I had satisfaction in hitting him, but I do not remember hitting him whatsoever. It's not in my brain anymore. It's gone. Yeah, like I said, I did in fact knock him the fuck out, and everyone who was next to me, and everyone who was witnessing it, the majority of them were supportive because they knew that I kind of had to. He kind of put me in a position. He grabbed my board, and he was going through his pockets and whatnot, so it was kind of like, if I didn't do it, what could he have done? I was a defendant in this case, basically. So there were a lot of people who were siding with me, and then behind me there were people who didn't see the entire thing, and there were a couple of people who were yelling things like, "Hey, what the fuck did you hit him for? You can't just hit him like that." And I didn't do anything about that. I knew that they didn't witness the entire thing, so it would have been pointless to flip them off or something like that. So I just decided to look in their direction and just go, like kind of shrug my shoulders, like, I don't know, I did it. He looked at me, so I swung. Sorry. Fucking sorry, what am I, in trouble? But anyways, so the people who were near me, basically, they told me, like, we'll call 911, we'll deal with it, you're young, you should get on the bus and just go home. And I was like, are you guys sure? And they were like, yeah. And I look at the bus driver for confirmation, and he just tells me, I didn't see what happened. So he basically let me on the bus, and I got away with it. I hit a guy as hard as I fucking could. His entire mouth was bloody. Like, it was bad. His mouth was dripping and just pouring blood. Dripping is not a justice to what it was. He was pouring blood out of his mouth, and it was not okay. I hit him really fucking hard. It was not okay. I thought he died. I seriously did, because he was knocked out for 45 seconds, like I said, and I thought that I had killed him because he wasn't reacting to anyone. But anyways, he eventually started to get up, and everyone was like, no, you need to get down. You should not be sitting up because you're pretty fucking hurt. And so as I was getting on the bus, he grabs me by the backpack and he says, fucking cracker. And so these were the final words that I stand by, that I told him, that I 100% stand by, that I think is not only funny, but 100% true. Right after he said, "Fuck it, cracker," I said, "Sorry, bud, but wrong generation." And then I got on the bus and I left. And I stand by that. I think calling me a cracker just because I hit you in the face right after you threatened me, calling me a cracker, I don't think that's right. In fact, I think you got what you deserved and you should have dealt with it because you're a fucking retard. I may have turned him into a retard after a fucking fall like that because I haven't seen him after that. I'd seen him plenty of times before that, but never after that. I have not seen him once. Now, there were a couple of close, times that I thought maybe that's him, but in the end I just doubted myself because I was like, nah, probably not. Because it didn't really look like him. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I just want to tell you guys, I hope you guys don't just go out and knock people the fuck out, because hitting someone in the face as hard as you possibly can is not a good thing. In fact, you can really, like I said, you could end someone's life like that. You could turn someone into a if not quadriplegic, which is not okay. You're basically making it so that their entire life is shitty. Now, if someone is not being okay to you and they're treating you like absolute shit and they start to threaten your life by going through, their pockets and whatnot, then it's time to just consider, like, should I hit them? Should I make them realize, like, no, this is not okay? Because another thing is, not everyone's gonna, get knocked out as easily as he did. Like I did say, I think, yeah, I mentioned this, I think he was a little bit buzzed, so that might have helped him out in getting, knocked the fuck out. But also, I did hit him really hard. I didn't let anything back. This is my first time hitting someone square in the fucking face, so I didn't know how much was a good enough amount to make him realize, that he needed to stop fucking with me. So just like a baby scorpion does with his poison, I just let everything go and tried to see what would happen. But anyways, that's the end of the story. Like I said, please don't go out and just start punching people in the fucking faces. Think about that kind of shit. It can end you up in a really bad scenario, and you can go to prison for something like that. You have to think about it, like, if this is a good scenario to hurt this guy. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you did, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.